This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for Thursday, May 1st, 2025. I'm Marek Mazurek. Indiana's legislature passed a law in 2019 that offered significant tax breaks of up to 50 years for operators of qualified data centers. On the heels of that legislation, data center operators have flocked to the Hoosier state, driven by low taxes, cheap and plentiful land, and solid supplies of power and water. In most cases, local officials have sided with developers, signing off on projects that stand to bring in major revenue. But more recently, the data center tide appears to be ebbing as multiple communities in Indiana have successfully pressured local officials into shutting down projects. In Northwest Indiana, data center proposals have been scrapped in Chesterton, Burns Harbor, and most recently Valparaiso. In Kosciuszko County last month, not a single member of the county zoning board or county commissioners voted to rezone land for a data center proposed by industrial real estate giant Prologis.
What triggered me was Industrial 3. I'm like, how can you go from Agriculture 1 to Industrial 3? That is absurd. That is asinine. So I wanted to know, okay, who's doing it? And what is a data center? And as soon as I looked into what a data center was, I was like, oh, hell no. This is not happening.
That's Jamie Moneyheffer, who was involved in Kosciuszko County. She said keys for the area's opposition were an effective use of social media and making sure to reach public officials. In Kosciuszko County, those speaking against the data center were mostly farming families who feared the loss of prime agricultural land. In more urban Northwest Indiana, there was opposition from homeowners and upper middle-class subdivisions worried about property values and noise. But in each community where data center proposals faltered, there was overwhelming public resistance. The Indiana Chamber of Commerce on Wednesday unveiled the rankings of the 2025 best places to work in Indiana. A total of 150 companies from throughout the state are ranked among 5 categories, with 4 companies hitting the number 1 spot for the first time. The number 1 ranked companies this year are Safety Resources Inc., Ultimate Technologies Group, United Consulting, McGowan Brabender, and ARCO Design Build. For a full list, head to InsideIndianaBusiness.com. From the number 1 source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
To succeed, you need to stay informed. You need to be engaged. And let's face it, you need to set yourself apart from the rest by connecting with a company that brings you the best. Because in today's environment, business is an ever-moving target, and we'll help you chase it. IBJ Media. The best of business is in us. Get started at ibjmedia.com/youngprofessional.
Indianapolis-based Eli Lilly and Company on Thursday posted 45% revenue growth in the first quarter of this year that topped Wall Street expectations, but the drug maker's stock dropped around 5% on earnings per share that did not meet analysts' estimates. For the quarter, Lilly reported profit of $2.76 billion, up 23% from the same period a year ago. Revenue was up almost $13 billion, up 45% from a year ago. In a written statement released Thursday, CEO David Ricks noted the company is accelerating manufacturing investments to support demand for its newest medicines. The company said earlier this year that it planned to build 4 new manufacturing facilities at yet-to-be-named locations in the U.S. Lilly also reaffirmed its 2025 revenue guidance to be between $58 and $61 billion, noting that the calculation was based on existing tariff and trade policies as of Thursday. During a Thursday morning call with investors, Ricks said, quote, "We support the U.S. government's goals to increase domestic investment. However, we don't believe tariffs are the right mechanism," end quote. Greenwood-based Wessels Company, a manufacturer of tanks and pressure vessels for a variety of industries, is investing more than $10 million to grow operations in its Tiffin, Ohio campus. The company is building a new factory that will expand its pressure vessel manufacturing capabilities and add more than 40 jobs. Construction is scheduled to be completed in November. Wessel said it plans to hire a dozen new employees within the first few months of operation and nearly 30 more in 2026. A coalition of ranking Indiana University alumni voiced, quote, alarm and anger this week to a new state policy that eliminates alumni input in the selection of university trustees and instead gives decision-making power over the board's membership to the governor. The letter was signed by 26 former chairs of the Board of Managers for IU's Alumni Association and was in response to provisions that were quietly added to the final draft of the next state budget, which give Governor Mike Braun full control over the membership of IU's Board of Trustees. The Board of Managers is a supervisory panel for the university's Alumni Association. Separately, the Board of Trustees is the governing body for the state's largest university system. Braun defended the policy move, emphasizing to reporters this week that just 1.7% of IU alumni participated in past votes to elect trustees. Ascension St. Vincent Carmel President Chad Dilley is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Mark Mazurek for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.